Hey, how y'all doing today? This is Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I wanted to go over a program called Rsync. Now, Rsync is a built-in utility in most Linux distributions. It's very popular. It's a very easy tool to use. And basically what it's for is syncing files and folders on your file system as well as across the network. You can incorporate it using SSH. And it's a pretty cool tool. Most people use it for backups, backup procedures, because there's options in there to keep permissions as well as ownership. So basically what I want to do in this video is show you guys a couple of the flags or options when running the command, and to basically give you an idea of how to use the command. And also I want to talk about Rsync, which is the GUI version of Rsync. And basically everything you can do in Rsync you can do in Rsync, but it just has a GUI interface for the people that are just getting started with Linux and are kind of timid when it comes to the command line. This is a great way to get started using the Rsync command by using the GUI version of it. So let's get started. So today I'm using Manjaro in a VM. I used it in my last video. I really like Manjaro. It's very similar to the operating system I use on my main system. What it is, it's based on Arch, which is the main, which is the OS that I use on as my daily driver. And I have all my VMs loaded on top of that. But I really like Manjaro. I might consider installing it as my main OS, but for right now I'm pretty happy with Arch, and I just want to do a couple videos using Manjaro just to show different VMs that you guys may be interested in using. So the first thing I want to do is open up a terminal, and we need to create two directories starting out. So basically, and first let me zoom in on the terminal so you guys can see exactly what I'm typing. Okay, that's good. So the command is make directory, and we want to do directory 1 and directory 2. And for anybody that's new to Linux, the tilde that lets you know you're in the home directory of your current user. So just so you know, I'm making these directories under my home directory. So it's home Josh, and that's why I'm making these directories. So press enter on that. It'll create both of those directories, no problem. And then also let's make a subdirectory, and that'll help us with some of the things I want to show you guys. So I'll name that sub 1. Press enter on that. Good to go. And so let's just ls the home directory so we can see those two directories were created. And also let's do a ls on directory 1 and make sure sub 1 is there, and yes, it's there. So let's clear that out. Okay, next I'm gonna need a couple files. So let's go. I'm gonna show you guys a great way of running the touch command. I did a video on the touch command a while back, and this is a great way of running it. So I just want to show you can create a bunch of files on the fly. And so I'm gonna run a quick command, and this will show you the power of Linux, how quickly you can do things. So it's touch, and then you want to go to the directory that you want to create the files in, and then name it whatever you want. I'm gonna just do file, and then I want to create 100 files. So and I can do it in sequential order from 1 to 100 by typing open bracket 1 ... and then 100 and then close brackets, and press enter on that, and it will create 100 files for me. So let's ls the directory 1 right fast so you guys can see that all those files were created, and it only took a millisecond or so to create those files. Pretty cool, right? Alright, so now that we have our directories created, our subdirectory created, and all our files that we want, it's time to get in and show you guys the command. So let's clear this out. And the basic syntax of the command is rsync, and then your options, whatever your options are, and then the source directory and the destination directory. So we're gonna do rsync directory 1, and then I'm gonna put a star behind it just to make sure it captures everything underneath that directory, and we want to move it all to directory 2. So let's press enter on that, and as you can see, it gives us some output, and that's somewhat of an error because we didn't put a flag here. It doesn't copy directories, and I'm pretty sure you guys remember this from one of the other commands I showed you guys. But there is a flag just like in the other programs I've talked about, but it's the -r flag, which allows you to copy directories. But first, let me ls the directory 2 so you guys can see that the data was copied over on that command that we ran. And also you'll see right here sub1 is not here. So in order to fix that, like I said, we have to use the or flag. So let's clear it out so I can get back up to the top so you guys can see rsync -or, and then same command as before, directory 1, and then we want to put a store there, and then directory 2, and press enter on that. And as you can see, it didn't give us any output. That means the command ran successfully. So let's ls the dir2 directory and press enter on that, and you can see that sub1 is there, as well as all the files are there. So let's clear that out. So the next option I want to show you guys is the -a option or flag. And what I want to do first is show you guys the man page for Rsync, so you guys can get a clear understanding of what the -a flag does. And the -a flag is basically archive mode, and we'll go down here and I'll show you. It's a combination of a bunch of different flags that are commonly used in the Rsync command. So if we get down here, let's keep going. I want to show you guys this so you can at least understand. So here we go, -a archive mode. As you can see, it's the equivalent or equal to -or, L, P, T, G, O, and capital D. I don't remember what all of them are. I know or of course is recursive, so we don't have to worry about running or when you do a. L, I believe, is for symbolic links. P, I believe, is for preserve permissions. Yeah. T, anyway, I'm not gonna go through all of them. It's preserved modification time, but I don't want to go through all of them. You guys can pull up the man page and see what it all runs. But I just want to run the command right fast, show you guys how it works. And also I want to do a few things just to show you that it works. So I'm gonna create a link, a symbolic link, and I want to create that for directory, let's see, 1, and then we want to create a symbolic link of file 1. And I don't want to go through this command. I'll probably do a video on it later or something. It's basically how you create symbolic links. So directory 1, file 1, and I want to link it to directory 1, and then I want to create a new file, and we're going to call it 101, which is fine, in the same directory and everything. So let's press enter on that. Didn't get any output, so we're good. So let's ls directory 1 so we can see that symbolic link right fast. All right, there we go. It's flashing. That's basically a symbolic link. And just to give you a little bit more details on that, LA, I'm gonna run ls-la on there. That way we can see the information behind the symbolic link, which is basically file 101 is directory 1 file 1. So whatever is in file 1 will show up in file 101 because it's a symbolic link. So let's clear that out. So it's another thing I want to do, and that's ch own on one of the files in that directory as well. And ch own basically means change the owner, and I'm actually typing it in wrong. Let me back that off. And I want to change the owner to root because that's the only other user I got on here, and the group to root, that's fine. And then I want to change let's see, directory 1, let's change file 2 to root. So, and then forgetting one more other thing, I have to write sudo in there, because whenever you change your ownership, especially to root, you have to type sudo in there, because you can't just give something root permissions without using your root password. So press enter on that, and it's going to ask me for my password, my sudo password. Press enter on that, and now we have changed it. So I'm gonna actually run the ls command on directory 1 as well again, and as you can see, file 2 has been changed to the owner of root. The owner is root and the group is root. So I just wanted to put that in there so you can see the -a flag work. So let's clear this out. So one thing I forgot to do was delete the data from directory 2. So let me go down and do that right fast. Remove, and then we want to do -or directory 2, and we want to put store behind it. That way it knows to delete everything underneath it. And let's ls directory 2 right fast, and as you can see, it's gone. All right, so now let's run the command. So it's rsync -a, and then we want to pull everything from directory 1, and we want to copy that over to directory 2, and press enter on that. And as you see, it didn't give us any output. And there is one thing I'm pretty sure that did not work correctly. Let me ls that directory. So directory 2, press enter, and I figured that would happen. But as you can see, the permissions didn't copy over, and the reason they didn't copy over is because I have to run it as sudo. Whenever you're working with root files, you have to run them as sudo in order for them to preserve the permissions like that. So let me get back down here, and I'll run it again, run that same command again, and this time we're going to put sudo in front of it, and we'll run that ls. Let's clear, and then let's run that ls directory 2 again. And as you can see, that root file is over there now. So that was the only issue. I probably should have just changed the permissions of the file. That way anybody can copy it, because you normally don't want to run rsync with sudo, but I just did it just to show you guys that it'll work. It'll preserve the permissions. Like I said, this is a VM that I don't even use. But normally you would change the you could probably change the permissions on it, whatever that file is, so it can be moved or whatever. So, but anyway, as you can see, the symbolic link worked and everything. And as you can see, it's also still pointing to directory 1 and file 1. And that's the way symbolic links are. They keep the same location, the original location of the file that it was linked to. So lastly, I want to show you guys how I normally run the rsync command. And what I use it for mainly is doing backups of my system. I have a backup script that runs the rsync command that backs up everything from my server to another drive, and then also back up things from my laptop directly to my server, just to have double backups of everything. So this is the way I normally run it. I basically run Rsync, and then I go -avzh, and then the directory, the source directory, and then the destination. And a lot of times mine is using SSH, so you can actually go, if you have a server or something, I'm gonna just use examples, so you can just do Josh at, I'm gonna just use that same computer, Manjaro, and then colon, and then you have to start off with home, and then Josh or whatever, and then directory 2, and then and that's basically it. So that's the way that works as far as when using SSH on it. You basically put your connection at the front of it, and it'll ask you to authenticate as soon as you run it, and you authenticate and it'll copy this stuff over. But basically, just to explain those flags, the A is the archive mode, which we covered already. V is for verbose, because I always like to see output. And the Z is pretty interesting option. It's compress, and that's normally used when copying things over the network, because it compresses, to my understanding, it compresses the files as they're being transferred over the network. So it'll compress before and decompress when it gets to the location where it's being copied to, just to, I don't know, to make it better over the network, save bandwidth and all that type of stuff. And then the H is human readable. That's been covered in the multiple commands I've done videos on, so you guys understand that. But that's basically how I run the command. I don't want to go any further than that. Like I said, the man page, you just type Rsync, man Rsync, and it'll pull up the man page. It has all the options in there and explanations of it. I'm gonna quit that. But another thing that I said I wanted to do was show you guys Rsync for the new people that are getting into Linux. So I already have it installed, but if you have Manjaro or Arch based Linux distribution, then it's sudo pacman, and it should be in a repository. Just press -s. You should already know how to install applications, and then Rsync, and I can't spell today. Yeah, and that's correct, and press enter on it. Ask you for your password, and it should be in most repositories. And I already have it installed. I think it did a reinstall. Make sure I had the up-to-date one, so that's clear. But like I was saying, it's in Ubuntu's repository. I know for sure. I've seen it. All the Arch-based repositories, pretty much all of them have Rsync. So anybody that's new to it, they can kind of learn the Rsync command, or Rsync. Well, they can learn the Rsync command by using Rsync, and I'll show you how. And I'm gonna just run it from the command line. But anyway, it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward, just like the command, except you're typing it out. But this, you can just click on it. So you select your source, and then select your destination. And just so you know, source always comes first. I know it doesn't kind of highlight it. You think they will put source here next to this one, and then destination right here, so people would know. But I guess they assume that you know. But the first one is always going to be a source, and then destination is always going to be the second. And as I explained in the when running the command in the command line, there are all the options there you can select. All you gotta do is click a checkbox on in here. So preserve time, preserve ownership, that's all under the -A option that I was talking about, verbose. And there are delete on destination. I didn't show you guys that. Like I said, that's all in the man page. You can check it out for yourself and get a little bit more information on it. But delete on destination, ignore existing, skip newer, Windows compatibility, size only, whatever. And it's just a bunch of other options. This is the advanced options. You can do backups, compress files. That's what I was talking about. The Z is compress files during transfer. Only update existing files. You can do that if you want to sync to a directory where you back up specific files every single day or something like that. It won't back up anything that hasn't been modified. So it's a very quick sync when it comes to that. So like I said, you can go through it, give you the information on it. And the cool thing about Rsync that I want to point out is before you run the command itself, which you can do this running Rsync as well. I forget what the flag is, or it's probably -- simulate or something. I don't know. It's something dealing with simulate, but you can simulate the actual command running before you actually execute it. So if you hit simulate, it'll simulate copying those files for you and everything that's in it. And it'll give you some output so you can see exactly what would happen, and it'll highlight some type of warning. Oh yeah, it's called dry run. That's what it's called. But that option is in Rsync as well. So, and another cool thing about Rsync that you guys might be interested in is you can click Rsync command line, and this will show you exactly what Rsync is actually running. And all this is a front interface for the Rsync command. So you can run this command exactly the same as here, and it'll run perfectly in the command line. And that's all this program is actually doing. And then also once you have everything selected, just press execute, and it'll go through and it'll tell you if it's successful. You can look at the output, which is basically the same stuff you'll get in the command line. And then here's the execute button there as well. So, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, Rsync is a great program for syncing all your files and folders, doing backups and all that good stuff. So it's a great program to learn. So I recommend you guys opening up the command line and trying it out if you haven't. And if you got any questions, please leave a comment down below. I really appreciate you guys checking out the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and of course, you already know, keep it techie.